everybody, welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. From his Oscar-winning turn as Idi Amin, to Cecil Gaines in The Butler, to my favorite, Ghost Dog, Forest Whitaker has had one of the most illustrious and varied acting careers one can have. This year you can see him in the movie currently making fistfuls of money across the globe, Black Panther, and now as Desmond Tutu in The Forgiven, where Whitaker squares off with a psychopath played by Bana. Let's take a look.
Prisoner Blumfeld, you have a visitor.
Father, please, find me just one piece of bone.
I promise.
Don't go to that prison. He's only out to harm you.
But he knows who killed this girl.
He's a psychopath and a convicted killer. He'll try and destroy you.
Amnesty for your crimes is highly unlikely. Unless you tell me about this Operation Hacksaw.
How does it feel? Colluding with your former white masters.
Colonel, do you have nothing to say to these families? They are your own people.
Tears have no color. Killing someone is never political. Killing someone is personal, boy.
Don't call me boy.
I could tell you a thing or two about what's buried in this country. About its walls, about Hacksaw. Can't forgive the likes of me.
We are all connected by a common humanity. No one is beyond redemption. Blumfeld is going to talk.
If he crosses, he sinks us all.
There's been a bomb threat against the Commission.
Take out Blumfeld.
Let him come. Let him come!
We are one nation now. We either learn to live together in this country, or we will die together in this country.
Everybody, Forest Whitaker! Sir, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be here, yeah.
Congratulations on another incredible performance and a great film. Let's start by, you don't seem fearful at all of taking on playing historical figures.
I can't say that I'm not fearful. I'm always nervous, because you want to make sure that you capture the spirit of the person and you're able to put it across. And sometimes that's difficult. I was extremely nervous when I was doing this film.
Is it a different process for you than it is creating a character from scratch?
I mean, the references are different because you already have like real videos that you can watch. At times you can meet with the person, like I was able to meet with Desmond Tutu a number of times. So it offers you different opportunities, but in the end, you're still searching for the experiences, the people, the things that fuel you or that created you, and then you let those things out.
What was it like when you met with Desmond Tutu?
I had met with him before. I have a conflict resolution organization that works in South Sudan, in about 5 different countries, including the U.S. And so I had met with him because of that. But this time was quite different because I was studying him all the time, with videos and stuff. And I sat down with him, and I have always had such an amazing respect for him because he's a treasure to the planet, I think. And I got a chance to sit with him and talk to him a little bit about some of the things that had happened and he had done. And that helped me out a lot in figuring out what I was going to do.
What kind of place, when you talk to him and you talk to him specifically about these instances, what kind of place did he talk about where he was coming from, how it felt to be sort of seeking resolution and closure to atrocities like this?
I mean, obviously he's a highly spiritual man, religious man. So the concept of being able to forgive was deeply ingrained inside of what he believed, and so he's not like a passive man in that respect. He's an activist, very aggressive activist on a lot of different fronts now, but he still like had the same kernel, which is like to love and to forgive is like leading you towards like your relationship with God, you know, and your fellow man. So
Is that kind of the core of what you hold in you for the performance, be it in every scene? Is it kind of a core truth about Desmond Tutu? Is that it?
I mean, it's interesting because part of it is the struggle that I have as Desmond Tutu, of like being able to forgive even the most despicable crimes, murders, torture, and to be able to go through that. And that's a part of the journey in the movie, is to try to pass by that, to see that it's okay. I think he suffers at times. You see him, like, when you see the Truth and Reconciliation trials in real life, the video, and these people are testifying as to what has happened to them in their lives and what people have done to them, you know, and punishing them or torturing them. And you see him break down in tears. He literally collapsed on the desk and he's crying, you know. And it's not like things don't affect him like that. It's deeply human reaction and stuff. And I think but he has inside of it a core that, in the core of it, we're all good human beings. And at the bottom of it, we still have the capacity, if we're loved, to love, you know. And so,
I think some of the most powerful scenes in this film, outside of the hearings, but are the scenes just between you and Eric Bana. I love a good two-hander, you know, and that's really what you guys kind of get the chance to do in the center of this film in a couple scenes. What was it like working on those with him? How much time do you have to prep, or was that one of those instances where you guys just sort of got in there and started going?
it's, you know, Eric got there before me, and I came in and we started talking to the director, Roland Joffé, and actually there's things that we did, like some exercises that Roland had, they're really unusual. Like, some of them they're unusual for any director. I've never met a director who works the way he does. Like, he kind of plays around with dreams and creates dreams and moments that like connect you together in some way. He'll tell one actor about a story and a dream, and then he'll tell the other actor something else, and there's an interlinkage of where the dreams kind of connect in some weird way, but you don't really know. And you're in this scene together, and then you're responding to different things, but they're connected. And he did that in a really kind of, I've never seen that way of working before.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I thought he was
okay.
an amazing director. I mean, I think a lot of directors, you know, they're so different. Some talk to you, you know, some of them don't give you any directions. Some of them like help guide your internal life. What I liked about it is it helped guide us to where we were supposed to be feeling. And it was a difficult relationship between, obviously, you know, he's this deeply Afrikaans, you know, man who's sort of based on some characters who really did horrible, despicable things, you know, and to put us in this room or in a cell together, where he's free to say whatever he wants, and I'm trying to redeem him in some way, or offer him the opportunity, you know, if he chooses.
In so many ways, he's trying to break your spiritual foundation at times. He's trying to prove to you that you're a phony, essentially, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, he's definitely saying that he's saying that you're like bought into this whole forgiveness thing, and so that just allows us to be who we are, and we get to win anyway. You know, because you have to say we're okay, and now you give us amnesty, and we go off. You know, and then there's a big question of, you know, can he forgive? Can he forgive someone who's, you know, burned someone alive, or, you know, done some of the torturous things that this man has done? And he laughs in his face because of it. You know, Bloomfeld laughs at him because he sees that he's affecting him, and even the fact that it affects me is a question of my faith. But this doesn't mean that when you're able to walk through fear, you know, and walk through the fire, it's the only time you can see whether you can live by what you believe. And I think Bloomfeld becomes that for him sometimes.
How did doing these scenes and playing Desmond Tutu, although it seems like you had somewhat of a relationship with him prior to this, affect your own spirituality? Did you sort of already have that going into the role?
No, I mean, I was trying to see if I could. I think like some of the meetings with him is more like trying to absorb some of his aura or his energy, you know, the way he like lives, you know. I mean, I can't say I'm like that. Obviously, you know, I think it affected me to like try to consider. I've always tried to consider that all of us come from the same place. It's just the experiences and the pains and the loves and the joys and the different elements that change us, that make us distinctly different from each other. And it's those things when taken away that we come back to our source to be that way. I've always kind of source being like where we all connect, you know? And I think I've always tried to do that and understand that, but there's times in my life, I mean, many times where I'm challenged, I'm struggling, I don't like the way somebody's done something or is done to me, or even my own behavior in a situation, so I just keep working at it. I think just keep working at trying to be a better person, you know?
When we go back to, if someone looks at your resume, it's just the list of movies is incredible, and the list of accomplishment and performance is amazing. Do you feel like, I mean, I think right away when you got on screen, people were kind of blown away by just how different you were than everybody else on screen at the time, and you just like radiated something that was amazing. When do you think you were able to, as an actor, start playing roles like Desmond Tutu or Idi Amin? Do you think you had that capability that early in your career, or it took a lot of practice, a lot of work?
I think I was willing to try to do whatever was necessary to be able to do that. I don't know if I always succeeded. I think the first time I was asked to do something like where it was really submersive was probably when I played Charlie Parker in Bird. Yeah. That was a long time ago, and
that was like probably like 5-6 years into your career, right? At that point,
probably so. And I was, it taught me something because I was so afraid. I was just like, I'm gonna dance out on this limb. If the limb breaks, you know, then I'll still be alive. You know, I'm just gonna try my best and give it everything I had, and I did. But it took me a long time to be able to accept the work. You know, as I kept working and trying to disappear into the character. Remember, I talked to somebody about that. You know. And I say that I can never play these characters right because there's always me, you know, and I can't get past me, you know, completely. And then they said, well, what makes you think that that part of you isn't that character? And I think they were kind of right into a sense. I just was thinking that maybe if you could transmute, like even like if you vibrate differently enough, maybe you can even change the way you look. And I think I started to try to understand and learn a little bit about doing that a little bit, just how illusion can happen when I was doing Last King, but I still like keep struggling with the same thing. I struggle with it all the way through this film of trying to get so deeply into the truth that for a moment I surrendered to allowing myself to disappear inside of it.
So is that something that, because oftentimes they say with acting the best way to go about it is to find the part of you that is in the character and sort of ground yourself in that, and you don't necessarily sort of want to do that? You want to disappear completely?
No, what happens, I mean, maybe one idea would be that like you have all these things, molecules that make you up, and then maybe inside of those molecules exists the entirety of humanity, you know? And if you can like let one of them blow up and expand enough, maybe it expands to such a degree in you that yours shrinks down to the other size. And it doesn't mean I'm going completely disappeared, you know.
You just have access.
You know, yeah, you're connected to that. We're connected to each other, you know, and you can find that, you know, if you keep working in it. And honestly, it's a question of if you're willing to work hard enough to surrender to that. And, you know.
How much has your process changed since that first sort of fully immersive role in Bird?
I think it's definitely changed. It's similar, but it's changed. I mean, I think more than I understand more about like just working, getting all the things in place, doing all the things that are necessary to get all the information and all the emotional stuff that lives in you, and then truly like falling, like surrendering to that when you're working and stuff. And
to the moment and kind of hoping that all the research and everything that you did is just sort of there?
Yeah, to the character, to the person, to the being, to the situation, to everything. Just, you know, I can see it as like falling to like, someone would say it's the abyss or something, just, but it's not. It's like to the fullness of it, you know.
Bird was Eastwood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eastwood.
And now Eastwood is, and you talked about, you said that was the first time sort of like walking out and sort of just diving in kind of and seeing what you had. Now Eastwood, from what I understand, is a fairly like, lets the actors kind of go. It doesn't give that much direction. What did that feel like when you were doing something so immersive in that moment?
I was surprised that he trust me, it was like I was a young actor and I wasn't sure. No, he doesn't do, but he like allows you to set up situations for you, which also is directing. You know, he'll like set up for me to go train and learn the horn with Lenny Niehaus, set up for me to meet the wife of Charlie Parker, set up for me and set up a number of things that were helpful in me figuring out what I was doing. You know, figuring out who this man was, giving me certain books, introducing me to certain musicians. Yeah,
That's cool. So this year, you know, outside of The Forgiven, you also have you're in Black Panther. That's so cool, man. That's like literally all I got.
it's a blessing. You know?
It's amazing. This movie is taking the world by storm, and it was definitely this situation where I imagine it took years to get made, and people didn't think that it would do as well as it's doing right now. What is it like to be a part of this movie that also, in some ways, feels like a movement?
Yeah, it does feel like a movement. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, because I think Ryan Coogler had like an amazing vision for the movie, and he put together, you know, with Chadwick and everyone, all this amazing cast. I think just some of the messages inside the movie, you know, that came through are really powerful, and I think people are feeling empowered because of that. People are feeling more fully themselves because of that. Women are feeling stronger because of that. People are recognizing that they have to take care of each other, and recognize that that's a part of the message in the film too, which is taking care of your brother, recognizing, you know that you can't just let others fall while you rise, you know. And it's just even like about this immigration, like breaking down walls and breaking down lines and stuff, so we can cross them and know that we're connected in some way. It's very powerful. We're one tribe, you know, the way he says. And I think it's been amazing to be involved with all those great artists and to have had a small part in like the project going forward, because are happening the way it is, because it's a special one. I feel very, very proud to be a part of it.
Did you ever think when you first started in this industry that there would ever be a movie like Black Panther?
I have to say, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that I believe that, you know, we're evolving, and like that that ultimately it'll evolve to the place where something like this could happen, and it did happen. And I think I think what's powerful is like that people are taking it on, that the movement's going on, and that people of color too like are feeling like, you know, represented, and that the people themselves feel like they're all connected. And it's just got so many things, you know, the technology, ancient technology, you know, the representation of Africa in the film, you know, it's just so many different beautiful things, and going back to origin, like I say, going back to source, where we're all connected, you know.
You have another project that I wanted to touch on as well, that you're a producer, and you've produced a number of films with this film, Roxanne, Roxanne, that's coming out into theaters at the end of the month, that you're a producer on. It's a really cool movie, really great story. Can you talk about that?
Well, just trying to tell the story of this young woman's like movement from, you know, really it's a very personal story. It's about her rapping and stuff, and what she was doing, and, you know, Shantae and, you know, Roxanne, but it also like explores the things in her life that she had to overcome in order to be able to be the great artist that she is, and to be a stronger person. And I think it does that in a really great way. So I'm excited for people to see it. I think people will enjoy it and also get a lot from it.
How did you get involved with that film?
It's my company. You know, my partner Nina Yang and I, you know, we look for projects that we believe in, and filmmakers, a lot of times young filmmakers that are starting their careers. We've done like about 5 films now. We did Fruitvale Station first, and we did Dope, and then we done shot this one, Roxanne, Roxanne. We did one recently. We did this beautiful film too, Songs My Brother Taught Me, which is about the Native community, Chloe Zhao's movie, and then we also have this Boots Riley movie, which is going to be coming out, called Sorry to Bother You. So those are the films that we've done as a company, and, you know, and we continue to try to support new voices and let them come out.
It's a pretty great record there on all of those movies. Those are all very well reviewed and sort of beloved films. Fruitvale, Dope, and Sorry to Bother You was a huge hit at this past Sundance, right?
Yeah. And
it's supposed to be really weird too. I've heard. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. It's a different one, but I think that's the filmmaker's more to surrealism in some ways too. So you get a chance to see some of his ideas about where we progress.
How do you guys? I mean, Fruitvale Station, Coogler's first movie. He's a visionary director right now. Not right now. He is that. What did you see in him, and what are you looking for when you talk to a first-time director that's coming in and pitching you their idea?
Vision, purpose, passion. I mean, we care about social messages and stuff, about things that are talking about what's going on in the culture and with the people and stuff. So with Ryan, that's a deep part of who he is. That's part of his makeup. You know what I mean? So I was fortunate, to hear his ideas. Nina and I were to hear his ideas, and that was the one that we gravitated to, which was Fruitvale, and we asked to do, and a number of the other filmmakers, like that was Chloe's first movie as well, and she just won at Cannes. I was really happy for her and their new film, and so we've been really fortunate that we've been connected to some really talented filmmakers and opportunity to hopefully support them.
When did you decide that you wanted to produce as well as act, and that you also wanted to focus on sort of like up and coming filmmakers?
I used to have a company called Spirit Dance, and that was like maybe 15 years ago. And I used to produce one movie a year. I've been producing for a long time. I was just quietly just working, and I have a great partner with Nina, so she'll be out there.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who's got the mic? This guy's got a mic.
Hi, I loved your performance as Charlie Parker in Bird. Before taking on that role, did you already know how to play music, or if not, did you learn about how to play music from somebody else?
I had studied music first, but for vocals, for singing. Actually, when I was doing Bird, though, I worked with this guy named Lenny Niehaus, who was a sax player who taught me, how to play the horn. And I think the thing that I did differently was I was trying to figure out the history of what was going on when the song, because it's improv. So what would make them do a certain sound? So I was trying to find the emotional thing that guided it. So all the notes it was almost like they were talking to me. I would hear certain words, they meant certain things to me, and so it was kind of unique the way I was working in my head to try to figure out how to play it so that the fingering would actually go right, because it must be that way because I'm trying to say a certain thing. And, yeah.
Next question, right here.
Hello, Mr. Whitaker. Thanks for being here. You work with some amazing filmmakers. I was wondering, was there anything that you were taught over the years that helped you go deep into your characters?
I think when I was younger, I was taking certain martial art classes, Kali particularly, and it deals a lot with angles and direction. And so it was something a philosophy I started to understand, which was all the different angles and ways to get to a particular point. And I think as an actor, as kind of a part of the pursuit of what I would do was the different angles, the different ways, the different approaches to a person or a situation, and that helped me explore the characters in a way. I think my Sifu, or my last one, when he would tell me, when he was trying to help me with Last King, he just kept pushing me, and he, when he would touch me with his finger, it hurt so badly. And I said, why? And he said, because I'm already on the other side of you. You're standing there, And I was trying to understand that to be a warrior in that particular film. So, but it also taught me a lot about energy and how I needed to do something to get to the point I needed to get to.
This isn't an obvious reference, but did you use any of that for Ghost Dog?
Well, Ghost Dog, actually there was no real originally martial arts in the film at all. No. But
all about mysticism, though, and
yeah. No. I mean, but me and Jim went down to the Bowery, and I showed him some things that I thought we should have if we're gonna do a samurai movie. We had to have in the movie, and then he ended up doing that improv scene up on the roof where we were playing around, and I was just playing around and shadow boxing and stuff like that.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi. So, was there a character that you found particularly difficult to play? And if so, what did you do to overcome his challenges?
I did a movie called My Own Love Song, which is a movie with Renee Zellweger, and I played schizophrenic. And it was really hard for me. I kept working, trying to get deeper into like that headset, and at some point I feel like I might have messed with myself a little too much. And so, you can reprogram yourself, and that made it really hard for me. And so, it took me like a long time to get rid of the character. I feel like it took a year, and sometimes I even wonder when I have certain problems with it, if I completely got rid of like what I was playing with in my head. You know what I mean? But that was a tough one for me. It has to be the toughest part I've ever played.
Are you able to kind of turn your character off in between takes, or do you kind of hold on to it for the day and then?
It depends. Like sometimes I'm playing something where I don't have to. You're not doing that. It doesn't require you to go to that space. And sometimes in order to be able to do it, you have to stay in that space because you lose it and you can't play with the same energy and your thoughts. So it really depends on what the requirements are, and then you try to balance, try to figure out what are the real requirements. That's the journey, is to figure out how far, where should I go to make this work,
Yeah. Forrest, you're one of my favorite actors, one of the best that we have. When can people see The Forgiven?
March 9th.
March 9th. Oh, this Friday. So it'll be out this Friday. People can check it out. And Black Panther's in theaters now, and Roxanne comes out at the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
All right, Forest Whitaker, everybody, let's hear it.